Hello and welcome to this quiet little corner of the Ball and Chain Tavern here in Wayloon for what's going to be our level 28 episode of Purple Revisited. Fairly smooth sailing, albeit I've only been doing Reaper 1, so I would have expected that along the way. But we did include the 3 Barrel Cove chain. Now, for those of you who know that, one of them in particular, the Prove Your Worth without a trapper, with squishy characters, that can be a nightmare. Now, with this one not in total tank mode, the traps hurt him badly, but he had enough temp hit points to be able to survive it. And the captain guy at the end of that, we did very nicely against him with Intimidate, so that was great. At the moment we're sitting on a modifier of 75 for that. We have some nice gear to wear at the cap to hopefully boost that up into the 100 area, which my reading suggests will be good enough for most situations. So that should be something to look forward to. Otherwise, what else have we found on the way? Yeah, I tested the Absolute Zero against the Fire Giants in the Giant Hold Tor, and they seem to just be destroyed. Maybe without a save. They didn't freeze, they just got obliterated. So that was an interesting one. There seems to be a... I don't know how the game defines a fire creature, because to me the Forge Wraith should definitely be in there. And there are some other things that were those things in the Demon Assault were getting frozen rather than obliterated, and those would seem to be prime candidates, as fire creatures. So I don't know whether it's allowing a save sometimes where it shouldn't, or some things are just not classed as fire. I don't know. To be discovered, I guess. But the fact remains that's been a fun and effective way of dealing with otherwise very threatening death warded Red Crown opponents. So, and that all the way up to the cap, I guess. Trap the Soul as well has been really good on the leveling journey. Really good against stuff like Undead that's normally immune to instant kill, like Finger of Death. Well, good luck there. But the Trap the Soul, really nice against them. What else have we done? Right, we've respec'd the trees, the epic trees. I'd mentioned I was going to do this, so we've moved away from Evergreen and the epic strike in here, the Carrion Swarm, which was doing nicely for us, no complaints there. But as mentioned, I'm giving a test to this energy vortex. We've picked up some other nice things in here. I'm using the mantle just because we happen to have a heavy investment in this tree at the moment. It's the best for damage anyway for a caster, but I'm just using it because we happen to be heavily invested in the tree. Our mantle is of course going to be that one in the fullness of time, but for the purposes of leveling we want to be focusing more on damage, so that's why we're in there. But the vortex, I like the animation, and you can have it always up if needed, because its cooldown is 3 seconds shorter than its total duration. So that's a nice thing. It can always be ticking there. We've picked up this Daunting Roar, so 25% chance to paralyze enemies with fear. The paralysis appears as one of those green outlines, like what's that thing in the Arcane Archer tree? That I think it's just para arrows, isn't it? It appears as the same thing as they get, that green outline. So it's very easy to tell when something's been hit by it. I've had some weird things happening. Enemies immune to fear are immune to this effect. Broadly speaking, that seemed to be the case for the skeleton types in the catacombs, but the odd one did seem to get paralysed, so I don't quite know how it's working it out. Broadly speaking, things are dying a little bit fast on Reaper 1, so we might see more of a pattern emerging at the cap as to whether that's worth investing in or not. I think it will. I mean, it says there it's only 6 seconds duration, but it is no save, and once they are hit by that, they're helpless. So anything that's pulsing out like this aura. Speaking of the aura, I think that can trigger. I think that's classed as a breath weapon as well. I think that can trigger the daunting raw paralysis too, unless I'm mistaken. So I think that could turn out to be a good little investment, as we happen to be in this tree anyway for the casting while raged. Otherwise, speaking of good little investment, this tree is absolutely chock full, both offensively and defensively, of nice stuff for us. This third core gets us chances to gain temp hit points per character level, so that would be 340 at the cap on a 10-second cooldown, triggering on spellcast. Well, it's a chance to, isn't it? But as he's built very much around temp hit points, that is a nice little accompaniment to that. So is this, the Scales of the Dragon. We've seen it before when Fools was leveling as the druid, and here it's going to fit very nicely. I think I was looking at the secondary thing. Obviously the ablative protection is nice. I'm beginning to get used to looking up here for it, because unfortunately it doesn't show you on the, like if you had like from shining through the temp hit points, you can see them there straight away on the bar. I would like it to show there, but it's up here instead, the barrier of scales. But the other side to it, the energy sheath, cold version, I think is going to be very nice as a tank, as anybody who's tried the tanky side of things will know already. I'm just beginning to look into it, but you'll know that absorptions are important. So if we look here at the moment, cold absorption, my reading suggests aiming for around 70 on the key ones, like the fire and the electric and that kind of thing, is a good target to hit. So we're kind of there for the cold, so that's great. Now I know for a fact at the cap we have the Winter's Crown, don't we, from Feywild, the Crown of Snow, is it? And that should bring us to about 70 for fire. It should act like a fire shield cold. And our weapon has some filigree in it that give us the electric, the same effect for electric. So we may end up around 70 for those three, which would be awesome. I'll just have to remember to click on the barrier of scales every 5 minutes or so, which shouldn't prove too problematic. So yeah, looking good. Skills wise, I mentioned the Intimidate as coming useful in one quest. So we've focused big on concentration for scroll use when needed in the heat of the moment. Probably Greater Resta would be the key one there. Intimidate, I hope to I hope to get that up over or around the 100 area if we can. Jump, we're where we need to be. Is that 41 because we're classed as being on the horse? No, I don't think so. So I could have put a bit less in jump, in fact. But no, I think it's okay. And Spellcraft is the other one. UMD, with that 1 point invested, we're well in order for that, aren't we? So yeah, that's looking good. Feats, as mentioned, I took the 2 shield ones, so Greater and Perfect Shield Mastery. So we have a nice chunk of hit points going along with all that. I'm obviously not using a shield at the moment. We're using an orb instead. Offense. We'll switch to shield when we get to the cap and we go much more tanky. The feat for 28 was, normally I would have taken defect warding in there, but as I explained before, we're going to take that in here, and because we already have the quality bonus in the shifter tree, so we don't need that. That freed up the 28 slot for a different feat. I considered going offensive with the force, because that's going to be a key element for us at the cap between the tentacle and tempest and the base part of our blast. But in the end I went for embodiment of law for a mixture of offense and defense, so it's given us 3 PRR and MRR and 2 imbue dice, which I thought was okay. What else have we got here? Oh yeah, a bit more on the absolute zero, the freeze. In some cases it can be helpful to freeze rather than kill, like in the Madstone quest in Giant Hold. I was using some of the frozen targets to block the way up to the giants quite nicely, or indeed to just stop constant respawns. Rather than killing things and having to kill them again when they respawned, I was just freezing them and leaving them there. So obviously it's on a 25-second cooldown, but it turned out to be really nice. I had a little line of frozen statues at one stage, so happy days. I think that's about all I had to say for this one. Is there anything else I've missed on the Epic Destiny side? So we've kept the bare bones in Primal. I might have to rejig this. At the moment we've emphasised Force, which, yeah, that's right, that's going to be all the more so at the cap. And then I've gone for Cold. The other one would have been Positive and Light, wouldn't it? No, maybe that's the right order of things, but this third core, very nice. Extra absorption versus all the standard elemental damage. So that's nice to have. Otherwise I've got bonus core and I've got the cocoon, a bit more PRR and MRR, and the Shard Storm. Now, as mentioned before, it looks like the Shard Storm is giving its temp hit point bonus without needing to invest this point here. But it's possible that you don't get the double damage on the Shard Storm if that's a thing for you, if you don't invest that point. That I don't know. I haven't checked properly into that. I mentioned offensively in this tree. Now I've no idea whether I'll keep any or all of this stuff. I'm pretty sure it'll have to be trimmed back somehow, because we're going to be looking at 30 plus points in Sentinel in the end. But at the moment I've got 3 imbue dice in there, which is nice for our build. We've got 3 conjuration DCs, so it's not terrible, the conjuration. Outside of Reaper, low 50s for web, that means mid 50s for tentacle. I think in Reaper, because we've got so many points invested in there now, that's another 4, 5, 6 DC. We should be around the low 60s for the conjuration. So not terrible, and a bit more spell power there. Spell pen obviously important for the tentacles. It has a spell pen check. Otherwise, I've emphasised maybe spell power in here more than I perhaps would have at the cap. So we've got 6 points here, 3 in there and 3 in there, sort of focused on the spell power side of things. That's the kind of thing I could and probably should remove when we get to the cap in favour of some tankier stuff in here. We've already seen during the course of the levelling process that unfortunate demise in the Tempest Spine, how important it is not to fail fortitude saves on a 1. So to have the 3 points in there is definitely a nice thing for our build. Our fort save at the cap should be, well, I would hope it would be up towards the 100 mark with the high con we'll have. So to not fail on a 1 would be advantageous there. Not too much else to mention, still just a base investment in Sentinel. So what about, what have I not done recently? I don't think I've shown mirror recently. I've got the whole Wayloon chain to do. So let's have a little go at mirror and see how we get on. I would hope we'd do alright against the trash. I'm going to boost the difficulty up. As I mentioned, I've been running along on Reaper 1 because my goal with this, as mentioned before, is just to show that you can do it, you know, really smoothly with a build that is meant to be turned into quite a tanky thing at the cap, and not have to suffer and struggle or use a heart to respec things or whatever it might be. So we're going to try on 4 here, just for the purposes of the challenge. So I would expect the boss beatdown to be a bit painful at the end, but I'm hoping we can show enough to show that at least against the trash we're in a decent place. Where am I going to put the... I think there's a special tactic the real speedsters use, isn't there, not to have to use the waiting delay on the mirror. Well, I'm not to that, me. I have enough trouble just remembering the way and not getting beaten up on the way. Let's give you a quick look before we set off where we're at with the appropriate, well, con's looking nice, isn't it? And charisma as well as the second stat is not doing bad either. Armor class is so-so. For a few misses from trash, not terrible, I suppose. And the spell powers are okay for late epic. I think the Reaper, stuff is making a difference there. That's taken us to just over 700 in light now, hasn't it? The 3 we're bothered about are the cold, the force, and the light. So we're not doing so bad with those. We are cheating a bit with the sentient scepter, as I mentioned. If this works out okay, and I'm predicting this might be his end build for a while, because I did spend some time and effort on the gear. He can level with this cold scepter and get some mileage out of it, so I justify having spent a little bit making his leveling journey a bit easier. Right, let's not suck too badly, eh? So let's get the defences in place, temp hit points and what have you. So broadly speaking, because we don't have the evergreen anymore, I'm going to be leaning heavily on the 4 spell-like abilities. Those 2 are obviously free, our Warlock blasts, and these 2 cost 20 each and do some decent things for us. I love the effect of the white dragon breath. Let's be looking out for some excuse me. Let's be looking out for some paralysis effects on the way. I'm hoping we're going to be seeing that.
A nearby shadow orb resonates with magic. You should gather any more.
Oh, hello.
You find.
Ah, failing the instant kills now. I guess that's going to be an increasingly regular theme the closer we get to the cap.
A barrier of magical shadows blocks this doorway. There has to be another way around it. An aura of magic emanates from the light orb. You should gather any more.
I should have just grabbed the orb and got the hell out of here, but hey ho. Yeah, I love that effect. And it does go so well with the sort of general aura blast from middle type thing. I mean, the other thing that would have gone okay would have been the energy burst from the, from the middle, but the ticking thing. If we want to try and, well, maximize uptime, keep attention of the things that are around us, and have more chances, hopefully, to trigger the paralysis from the daunting raw thing, I see that as being a decent way to go. Go away, don't touch us. Thank you.
This door has been blocked off.
Yeah, the one of the things to be careful of in the mirror quest in areas like this, when you know that when you go to the other side it's going to be full of stuff, to try and have your big attacks ready for when you do cross over, so they're not going to annihilate us, hopefully.
The door here has been sealed off with bricks. There must be another path.
Oh, silly boy. Yep, not too bad. Okay, so Tentacles is ready again for when we cross over. Might lead with that. So that's afforded us some half-decent crowd control, and then we just go in with the AoE stuff. And nothing's moving down there. Try and get away before those dogs see us. Yeah. Becoming a bit better at detecting when the shift has run out. That's one nice thing, because the game doesn't always indicate to you when one of your ongoing buffs has run out, so to have the shift indication pop up is nice for somebody like me who doesn't always keep an eye on these things. At the cap it might be a little bit less of an issue, because I'll be using it constantly, I hope, to maintain our buffer of temporary hit points, as you might have seen with the Druid video I did at the cap. Double Tentacle and Tempest there. Like a bit, oh, nice freeze on the Reaper there. Beautiful. Now that's another nice element to the whole thing, that we can, that fear thing can affect Reapers. Yes, no, maybe. What's going on here? Another one. Beautiful. Another killing zone here. I'd say that was pretty good. Shall we go after the Beholder? Oh, we're here anyway, let's go after him. He might be a tough cookie to bring down on Reaper 4, but let's give it a go.
cluster of glowing eyes darts
using the single target cold
betraying the shadow beholders how to
spells to get some stacking cold damage on him if we can. Try and remember to recast Nyax. Have a little eye on the damage he's doing to us. I think we're doing okay. I'm not quite sure what all that flashing stuff is doing is, but
dissipates back into the darkness.
glad to take the W. He took an awful lot off our spell absorption thing, so I dread to think what some of that might have done had we not been using it. Oh, do I hear a Reaper? Where is he? Is he in here? Okay, hello. You'll notice from that scorching light trigger that I've still kept the, well, the gear is completely as was before. I've kept the Fury Orb from Shan, the heroic Fury Orb, and that's giving us quite regularly a little boost in spell points, which is nice. Shadows with our light element, we are very good AoE wise against them. Although I obligingly forgot to trigger any temp hit points, so they went into our hit point pool there.
A shade appears from out of the darkness.
Set up the AoE. Now I don't tend to try and kill this shade because it keeps appearing and disappearing and whatnot, so I just grab the orb and get out of dodge. DDO, as you can see, quite nice to have in this quest, but by no means indispensable.
You take a quick glimpse into your mirror. A bridge of solid darkness has formed inside the Shadowfell. Spanning the gap, these light pedestals are dormant, but still radiate a subtle magical aura. The barrier of light disappears, allowing you to proceed.
Okay, this is where I expect there to be a bit of a problem beating this guy down, but we will see.
Well played.
Get all the
Shade
boosts on that we
applauds.
can.
You've certainly done a better job of damaging my operation than this fool of a cat burglar. I shall force him to watch as I destroy you.
Now again, I'll get the ticking damages on him so that when he teleports, maybe he's still taking damage as he goes. Maybe it'll work.
Laughs as he draws a protective spell.
I'll just have to wait, talking of ticking damage, until this thing is gone. Otherwise, my mirror will fail.
Exist in both light and shadow at
Let's put the stanch on as well.
Deal with you and continue to maintain the Shadowfell nexus at the same time.
Let's try and centre the AoE stuff all around him so we kill the trash and damage him at the same time. Has he gone? He's gone already. Okay, let's follow the beggar. So he is still taking a bit of damage there, or maybe there was just a bit of a delay. Trying to get the cold dots on him, the single target dots. How are we doing against him? I can't see now, can I? But yes, he is still taking the damage as he goes, so that's a good idea. About halfway. Keep that Nyax go. Has he gone again, the beggar? Again, we've got the ticking damage, so I'll have to wait. Just grab that as we go. Yeah, we're going a bit low. I'm glad I did grab that. A nice little... Now that's a proof that the aura... Did you see the paralysis triggered there? And I didn't have the... Oh, don't be doing that. Let's have the freedom of movement. Don't have freedom on the gear. I didn't have the cold vortex thing up. So it must have been the aura that triggered the paralysis. So that's nice to know. We are going a little bit borderline with the spell points. I might just have to stop using those cold dots altogether and just sticking with our spell-like ability AoEs here. Maybe a little Tempest thrown in. Okay. Tentacles this time. Almost there, come on. Yes, beautiful. A little laborious, but not too terrible. Go away.
Destroying the connection between the old stone hall and the Shadowfell.
I think there is... I thought I was going up a little bit quickly on the XP stakes. I think there's still a little bonus. This is recorded in the Christmas New Year time. I think there's still a little bonus going on, isn't there, generally? Because I'm not using a potion or anything here. But I'm still getting decent rewards. So we've taken advantage of that that nice little bonus to get back to the cap. It's funny, back in the day, I was much more of a fan of just the leveling in general. I suppose when you're discovering the game and the different stages, then that's kind of how many of us are. But having seen all that sort of a multitude of times on plenty of different builds, I'm maybe a little bit more drawn now to see what I can do at the cap, because it's something I've done less. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what this one can do. I hope he can be reasonably self-sufficient, at least in lower Reaper quests, and hopefully help others to maybe complete things on a bit higher level that they otherwise wouldn't be able to do alone. That would be nice to think. Okay, I think I've shown what I wanted to do there. I guess the focus in terms of leveling, as well, I suppose it depends on what the game's throwing at you, but in these Wayloon ones, it's like a lot of stuff mobbing you together. That's the typical thing, isn't it, for these? So the focus has shifted somewhat from the single target things that we'd been doing to the AoE business, and to that end, this White Dragon Breath has been doing quite nicely. Now there was some hope in there. A few times that paralysis triggered, and the one time it definitely triggers on this aura. I think this pulsing aura. So if it triggers on both the aura and the Dragon Breath, which I think it should do, because that should be classed as a breath weapon, shouldn't it? The energy vortex thing. I think we could be seeing some decent results out of that at the cap, where the typical group of opponents will last much, much longer than we are seeing here. He'll be sort of chipping away at them. Albeit he will have a shield throw he can use to make groups helpless and so take more damage. So maybe it won't be too bad. I guess that remains to be seen. Right, and the next time you see Purple, he will be at the cap. I'll be happy to give you a little tour of the gear I've put together. As mentioned, it took me quite a while. It was inspired by one of Axel's videos of the Reaper 10. Not that I plan to ever try purple in Reaper 10, but the Reaper 10 Paladin tank. Just to reiterate, if you want a proper tank for the real tough content, the Paladin or the Fighter would be way, way, way. It's not even in the same ballpark as the Warlock. But the reason I'm doing this, and I like to do this build, is you can have a seriously tanky character at the cap without the need to be piggybacking other players and or level in a completely different build and respec everything when you get to the cap. I'll be respecking trees, but I won't be messing about with hearts of whatever and all that kind of stuff. So I just think there's a little bit of a selling point there if anybody's of the same mindset as me with that kind of thing. Okay, I think that about does it. I will see you on the other side. Thank you very much as always for looking, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.